Saw some of your Atari stream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna find you one of these VCRs.
No, for some reason it was getting crazy. Give me another chance.
I'm gonna buy you a VCR. Why not? If I can find one just like mine, problem solved.
Okay.
Wouldn't you be happy with that? If
Yeah.
I found one for like $20.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Okay, that's all I want to hear.
Okay.
It's the correct answer.
All right. I'm gonna go get my fancy water.
Picard, #1 with a bullet. Hi guys. What's a good word? Look, it's the new setup. Ooh. Boat's getting his fancy water. He'll be ready to rock and roll. Oh, we're just starting right now. Yeah. I'll let Boat explain this to you, but he's got a new plan for the setup this week, so it's gonna be awesome.
I'll tell you the first thing that's great about this new setup is people can see your entire self.
Yeah,
Not just
that's what I don't like about it. People don't want to see that.
Yeah, they do. They need to see 100% air in action.
No one needs that.
All right.
You should have been doing this when I was doing the weight loss wager.
You ever drink out of one of these?
A bottle?
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Oh, how timely.
That's got to be from something that's not the Joker, right?
No.
Did he just make that up? Jack Nicholson?
Yeah. Terror Kate, he is much more like Baldric than he is Blackadder.
Jason, welcome.
Jason, buddy, I'm the SCTV freaking master. I loves it. I always have loves it. I've watched more than any man should, especially an American man.
You mean a real man?
That's true. I don't mean that. That was John Bodovkar Schaller. I'm just reviewing this real quick. Man, did you read this Dreamcatcher article?
I have not seen it
There's a picture
yet.
of Paul McCartney in here, and he looks like the human skunk.
Yeah, we talked about, was that, it's different than the Halloween thing?
Yeah, this one's called "It's Going to Be One of Those Days."
Oh, okay, so maybe that was a foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Let me pull all the things up here.
I've got a love-hate relationship with McCartney.
What do you hate about McCartney? How is he hateable?
Yeah, I don't like his solo stuff hardly at all.
Really?
There's some of it I can tolerate, and
Man.
I don't like any of his stuff with Wings hardly.
What? You don't like Jet? Jet?
No, I
Come
don't
on,
like it.
Major.
I don't like Jet.
And then it sounds like ELO is what it sounds
Oh,
like.
are you kidding me?
No.
Have you heard ELO's new song?
No, but I want
Ching.
to. I like ELO too. I wasn't trashing it.
Listen, ELO stuff blows away McCartney's solo stuff. I'll stand by that. And I think I always call Jeff Lynne. I always call him Paul Lynde, which is hilarious if you know who Paul Lynde is.
I don't know who that is.
He was the center circle, gets the square.
Oh.
A super effeminate, like lived in the glass closet, 70s, like gay dude.
Mm-hmm. Is it like the guy from Are You Being Served? Have you ever seen that British comedy?
I've seen it, but I don't know.
Okay. There's also a guy that's sort of like that. And
I
that
mean,
was,
Paul Lynde is Paul Lynde. I know you've seen him or heard him do
I'm
voices.
sure. I'm sure. Was
he
he on
talks
Match
like
Game?
this right here, you know. Paul Lynde's Halloween special. No.
He had a Halloween special?
Oh my, yes. It was Kiss's first televised appearance.
Really?
They play a couple songs on it. Also, it's got everyone on it. You need to watch that.
Okay.
It's on YouTube, and it's, trust me, I know you like those goofy specials. This is
Did
the
you post
king.
that on the Discord the other day? The one with the guy in the car going down. It was like a Model T. Somebody posted a video of a Halloween special in Discord.
I don't think I did. I haven't been really active on there for the obvious reason. You ever watch this, give my regards to Broadway, Paul McCartney thing?
Mm-mm.
It didn't do well. I hadn't even heard of it. I'll give my regards to Broad Street. Get it?
Get it?
We got a good crew. Macintosh Librarian. Yeah, get the shirt on. God. It had to be a big turnip. I guess you could get a decent sized turnip to put a raspberry pie in it, which I guess at that point it would become a raspberry turnip.
The kind you buy at a secondhand store. I do feel like this will be something that I correct before next week's show, but like,
what's that?
Putting us about right there on the screen, and somehow chopping off the bottom. It is a little unnerving to see our legs. Well, it does allow for impromptu soft shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic dance.
Macintosh Librarian is Kate Fox.
Tuesday nights on TBS.
What's up, Graham?
Kate, when's your first Mac video coming out? Kate, it's a what was that movie where everybody said that they were the same person?
That's a lot of movies.
Okay. It was the one about the heist, Thomas Crown affair, right?
I saw the remake of that with Pierce Brosnan in it.
I only saw that one.
Oh, okay. That's based on there's an original film that was not that. I didn't know that either until recently. I am Necronom. Who isn't? Who doesn't want to be Necronom? It's a cool sounding name.
Okay.
It's funny. I'm reading this article here, and I don't exactly know what I'm reading here.
The name of the game is "Give My Regards to Broad Street." Paul McCartney's in this.
Yeah. Are you? So that's what I'm reading. Right? It's incredible long.
Yeah. No More Lonely Nights. I think that's a McCartney song, right? I don't know that song.
What? I thought you were the Daddy Mac.
I am not.
All Beatle related trivia.
I'm not familiar with Paul McCartney's solo catalog outside the radio hits. I've never owned a Paul McCartney album. Who can forget his
Insidious birthday song, for example?
Lisa, it's your birthday.
No, that's not it. That's from The Simpsons. Also Insidious, by the way. That's Michael Jackson's Insidious birthday song with Bart.
Oh yeah, well that's a Beatles song.
The second I hear that, I turn the radio off, and then I burn the radio.
Wow, you really don't like that song?
No.
How about the part when they go, "Yes, we're going to a party"?
No,
you don't like that
all
part
of
either.
it horrible.
How about the part where they just go?
He's got a bunch of songs like that. They just they're insta heat with me. It's just like turn it down.
Do you ever miss just delivering pizza?
No, I don't.
You don't miss just like
because I drive 80
tunes?
miles a day, so I get plenty of time behind the wheel in front of the radio.
It's sort of like you're delivering pizza, except you're working on instruments.
I'm delivering myself.
Yeah, the
good
best
thing
gift of all.
I know where I'm going for once. When I delivered pizza, it was like when it was like when Columbus sailed the ocean. Like, remember he got to he was like looking for a short passage, the West Indies or whatever. That's the way deliver pizza was. Just you got your sextant out, you're trying to figure out what's going on. There was no cell phones, there was no auto GPS, wasn't jack squat. All you had was porch lights and mailboxes and house numbers, which no one had. And mailboxes, a big stack of mailboxes for like 10 different houses, just like, I'm screwed. No one gives you directions.
Yeah.
The people that took the directions were morons. They didn't care. How smart could they be? They were cooking at a pizza joint. And they owned it. God bless them. My God, just keep zooming, boat. It ain't going to get no prettier.
We can really go. That looks like the old C270 days. The old webcam. Need to just get us big enough that we can both fit in the frame.
I'm hoping the Brent can rally for.
Is he still ill? Like Morrissey?
We never did ARG. He couldn't do it Wednesday. Of course, I've been out sick for a couple of days myself, so I'm trying to rally. I took a load of drugs before I came down here, so
that's good.
Oh yeah, they're not the good kind. They're the, crap kind.
Your hand wringing is physically audible.
I'm sorry. I won't do that during the show. Or will I? I've never done that before, and today won't be any exception.
Let's see. I need the.
What kind of Coco news you got this week? Is the gamble train on the tracks this week?
All I have to do is just. Boop,
Oh man, there it is.
Yeah.
You need to be like the guys that are at Pixel Gate and had all the soundboard.
Yeah. Well, that's something I can do now that I'm sitting at a computer desk instead of sitting on that lame table.
You always sit exactly where you're at right now.
That's not true at all. I'm sitting behind that table, which is far away from all of my electronics.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you get the keyboard and mouse there.
Yeah, but now that I can actually be close to everything and not have to zoom everything to 1,000,000%.
Is that because you're blind?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were having to do that.
Then I can have my little my soundboard here. Got my stuff over here. I'm mixing. I'm matching.
You can be like Mick Fleetwood. You ever seen that video where he plays himself? He's got the drum machine hooked up to his body.
Sounds explicit.
And he goes like, and he plays himself like a drum.
Mick Fleetwood.
He's nuts.
He is.
Yeah. He's a good kind of nuts.
You ready to start the show, Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which way do I start?
You look at the camera.
Why is your foot on my side of the table?
Hey, man. Are we going there already?
Well, I'm just saying, I just ran into it. I don't want to injure you.
All right. You don't have to spin and face it completely.
I want
pretend
like
you're sitting
Woman,
by the
like
fire.
They got an explosion as I spin around like a top.
Okay, I'll put that in and
work
post.
that in?
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Oh no, I'm not ready.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm ready.
Hi everybody. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're going to be talking about Batman, the movie, the game.
This is the second the movie we've done here in the past couple months.
Yeah.
Remember what the first one was?
No.
But it was something the movie. We're back for more.
We're back for more. Aaron, there's a lot to talk about with Batman. But I want you, because I was very young. I was a young man when Batman was released. I believe this movie was released in 1989. And I was a mere lad of 8 years old.
Well,
so
you are sickening to me.
I don't recall
I graduated
much.
high school in 89.
Yeah, I don't recall much from those days. But you remember what the sort of landscape was like in the superhero movie industry. So bring me back to those days before Batman, the movie.
Well, before Batman, what did you have? Think
Nothing.
About it. No, you did.
What did you have?
You had one big franchise that was superhero, and that was Superman.
Oh, yeah, Superman.
And Superman, I think it was, I want to say 82 or something like that. You had Superman come out. But then its sequels did markedly less.
Diminishing returns.
Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Superman 1 and 2 were shot at the same time. They actually... And there was a crazy process that Superman went through to get made, because they ended up, the guy that directed the first one sort of got screwed, and so they reshot scenes that he'd shot for the second one and redid them with a new director, and there was all kinds of credit crap, so it was a big debacle. And that's why some stuff in Superman 2 doesn't make much sense, which I like Superman 2, but have you ever seen it?
It's been a while.
There's a bit in Superman 2 where Superman takes his S and throws it at a guy, and it wraps him up like a cocoon.
Really?
Everybody was like, what is that? Well... That was one of the extra scenes this guy added to make it funnier or whatever.
Was this I get him confused. 2 is the one with Richard Pryor,
No,
right?
that's 3.
Okay.
That's 3.
2 is Neil before Zod.
That's true.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Now Superman 4, I think I was in first or second grade when that came out. And although I did not see the movie, I went to the book fair and bought the book version, the picture book.
Is that the one where they get rid of the atomic bombs?
He takes all the bombs,
Yeah.
puts them in a net, and throws them into the sun.
See, I remember the 1, 2, and 3, and then Superman and Supergirl were right down the toilet. No good.
Has there ever been a good Supergirl pitch before?
No, there's not. But so before Batman, that was it, and the superhero genre was sort of floundering.
Yeah.
And then here comes Batman. Now, I'm assuming that you've seen Batman.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What did you think of?
Incredibly frightening.
What scared you about it?
The whole scene in the chemical plant where the Joker's like falling into the thing and his face is all messed up, and then the one part where he takes off, he's got like real person makeup on, but then he takes it off and it's white underneath. That unnerved me as a child.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny. You know what scared me about Superman when I was a kid was Superman 3. There's a scene where this chick, or it might have been a dude. It's a chick. She gets thrown into this big computer. You've seen the third one, right? Where that guy builds that huge computer. this chick gets like thrown into the computer, and drug into it, and she gets basically turned into like a robot.
Yeah, I remember that.
That freaked me out.
That
as
was
a kid.
freaky.
I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Superman 1 didn't do much. It didn't scare me that
No,
much.
we're talking about Batman. Yeah. Well, you were also 18 years old.
I was not that old. But Batman was a huge deal when it came out. I'm assuming you know that. And of course, all-star cast in it.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson.
I remember
Michael
reading.
Keaton. And I remember thinking Michael Keaton.
Right.
Because
comedian.
We knew him from like.
The Statler Brothers.
Night Shift. Statler Brothers. What are you talking about?
I might be wrong on that.
You're way off. And Kim Basinger was in it, of course, which, it was an okay flick. Jack was very good.
Mm-hmm. He's good in almost everything he does.
Keaton.
Passable? Passable Batman?
Yeah. He was okay. He wasn't the worst.
You be honest, though. You don't have to be a great actor to be Batman.
It actually helps, though. I mean, it would help.
You just got to talk real low.
The best thing that the original Batman did, of course, Tim Burton did a good job making it unique with the setting, the music, the architecture.
Yeah,
and that was all.
The music was great.
That was the best part.
Yeah,
of it. And so the best thing that came out of that movie was the animated series, which was outstanding and surpassed the movie in popularity by tenfold. And they used a lot of the stuff Tim Burton had, the music and the architecture.
Yeah, the Art Deco style.
Yeah, but it was a huge deal. It was a huge deal when it came out. I remember going down to the. I'm pretty sure I saw this down in Huntington at one of the Camelot or Keith Albee when I saw it. Everybody saw it. Everybody liked it. Even I liked it. I didn't think it was complete garbage. There was some stuff I didn't like, being a big Batman guy, but it was okay.
Yeah.
And then it got another movie that got progressively more horrible as the series went on until it bottomed out. I mean, it hit rock bottom.
What was the worst Batman movie?
Batman and Robin is awful bad.
Is that the Val Kilmer Batman?
No, this was the Batman with the guy from the notorious Bachelor guy. What's his name? He was in For Brother Wherefore
George
Art Thou?
Clooney.
George Clooney.
Thank you, Dunk.
And also, it had Alicia Silverstone in it as the Batgirl. Horrible. And I loved her. I mean, I liked looking at her.
Right.
But it was horrible.
Is that the one with Arnold as Mr. Freeze?
No,
Maybe I never saw Batman and Robin. I saw the one. Maybe that was the one with Val Kilmer.
They kind of run together. They're all hideous. Really. Once you get past the second one, it's a steep slope.
Yeah.
So there you go. But not good. And then of course you had to wait till the Marvel movies came out or I guess Blade came out, and that was sort of a kick in the pants and to get things going. And then the rest of the Marvel movies started coming out, Spider-Man and stuff like that. But yeah, it's funny when Batman came out, there was a good long step between it and Superman, the first Superman. So it was pretty important.
Now I want to get your thoughts. This is sort of timely that we're doing this show upon the recent release of the Joker movie, just called Joker, I guess.
Yeah.
This is the first comic book movie based on a DC property that actually got slapped with the R rating, I read.
Is it the first one?
Yeah.
Suicide Squad?
That was PG-13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never saw Suicide Squad.
So what do you think about that? What do you think about making a comic book movie that's rated R?
What was The Watchmen rated?
Oh, that was a hard R. But that's not, I wouldn't call that a superhero comic.
What do you mean? It was a book that DC did.
Right.
So technically, that would probably be the first.
That's true.
And it was way awesome. Now I haven't seen the Joker. I've heard some people say it was really good. I've heard some people say it was absolutely overhyped, and I've also heard it's incredibly violent.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. I just don't get the movies that much anymore. So
Right.
I'll probably catch it somewhere down the line. But I'm kind of burnt out on the superhero thing, to be honest with you. I mean, and I'm a big comic book guy, but I mean, I don't know. It just there's a lot of stuff I'd like to see before. I never saw Ant-Man, and I love Ant-Man. I'm probably the only person I heard, so there's somebody that's ahead of it. I'll get around to it. But I hear it's good. The previews look tremendous.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what else I hear is good, and that's the one and only Gangsta from Manchester, the Dreamcatcher.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk about what's been going on over at everythingamiga.com.
It's funny, any other week he'd be covering some kind of crazy superhero thing, but not this week.
No.
For your interest and perusal, his article this week on everythingamiga.com. It's going to be one of those days, which is a title I've been experiencing over the past weeks and months. And he goes into a thing here about a film called Give My Regards to Broad Street, which, again, I'd never heard of this, Bo. Did you?
No.
And it's about Sir Paul McCartney, and you can see various... he goes into ultra detail in this thing. And so who'd have thunk that there'd be a game involved in this? Very bizarre. We talked before the show. I'm not a big fan of Paul McCartney's solo or wing stuff, but you like it tons.
Yeah.
He's like your favorite.
Well, he's not my favorite, but
He's your all-time favorite artist.
I love Paul McCartney because so many people hate him. Kind of like Phil Collins.
People hate Paul McCartney?
Tons of people, tons of cool
Really?
guys out there.
I don't hate him. I mean,
it's the same thing as like Phil Collins. There's a ton of people that hate Phil Collins.
People hate Phil Collins?
Oh, yeah.
What for?
I know. That's what I'm
What
saying.
did he do?
It's the same kind of people. It's the same kind of people.
I've never heard anybody say, I
They
hate
think
Phil
his stuff
Collins.
is cheesy and saccharine.
Clearly, the people that hate Phil Collins haven't went back to listen to his weird Genesis stuff.
No, this is the solo Phil Collins.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Because that stuff is not saccharine
This
or cheesy.
is studio Phil Collins, which I also like. But anyway, I know a lot of people think that solo Paul is a little bit too sweet.
There's the man right there. If you're watching this at home, Ringo, that's my boy.
But there's a place for it. And I literally think that Paul McCartney is the greatest melodic writer of all time in the 20th century, except for possibly George Gershwin. So
I'm not qualified to make an assessment of that. I'll leave that to your capable hands, being the teacher type and all. But that Dreamcatcher goes into a long description of this. If you are interested in Paul McCartney or bad-mouthing Paul McCartney in his various game adaptions, this is the article for you.
Yeah.
And also, again, I want to mention that check out the Dreamcatcher's page or on YouTube, his channel. Always full of wacky antics.
Awesome.
The Dreamcatcher he's a mad genius.
I'll tell you what else is full of wacky antics, Aaron.
What's that?
The Gamble Train.
Oh no.
The Gamble Train is rolling down the tracks, ready for this week's bastion of Amiga news. Aaron,
what you got?
This week we're going to start things off with our buddy 10-minute Amiga Retrocast.
I've heard of him.
This is, we covered his.
Wow, what's he up to here? What in God's name is he doing? Oh.
This is multiple ads in front of his video.
Man, they're lining up for 10 Mark to take care of them.
That's right. So earlier we talked about him and Pixel Vixen went through all of the submissions for the Amiga art contest that they did. This is going a little bit more in depth with each of the entries. Whoa!
There's
one
your
right up
winner
your
right there. Bam! We have a sexy witch on the Amiga ball winner.
He just goes through them in a little bit more detail, and I believe that this is a multi-part video as well. So if you are at all interested in the results of the art contest that him and Pixel Vixen put on, definitely check out his channel.
Man, I've been out of the loop all week. I've been ill, and so I haven't seen any of this. So I can't wait. I saw one picture from this. I think it was the winning picture, and that was it. And so these are all so far the ones you've shown on here are awesome. I can't wait to see this.
Yeah.
That was a good idea. 10 Mark at it again. Smart man. Of course, Pixel Vixen is very talented.
Up next, Aaron, our buddy Ravi has been back in his studio again. He's probably got the tea. I know you love it when he gets the big mug of tea and sets it down right in front of his DJ station.
Want me to ask him if he owns a Vectrix next time, because that poster always catches my eye.
Yeah. So this is my favorite kind of Amiga music. I like a good old chilled out ambient mix. Okay. So he starts, as you can see, out with just the 1200. The other one is covered up, and at some point with a flourish, just like a magician, he just uncovers the other one. I was
wondering about that.
And immediately starts going to town.
Or he's having a picnic.
Yeah. Either way, I'm not really sure.
Look at the concentration involved in doing whatever the heck he's doing.
DJing is serious business.
I can't. Man, can you imagine if they said, "Here, Bo, fill in for Ravi"?
No, that would never happen.
You're a musical genius.
That would never happen.
I would pay top dollar to see you give this a shot.
Oh well, maybe one day. I'll give it a go. Once I get the House 600 back, maybe I'll set it up on its side and I'll start pressing some keys. We'll see what happens.
I like Ravi's got the 2-camera shot going here. That way you can see both hands.
That's right. They give you both cameras because you'll only need the edge.
Oh, wow.
All right. Next up, Aaron. This is, I know you love them. This
Yeah.
is another case update. This comes to us from a1200.net.
Well, I have one of their fine cases.
Now they put out the 1200 case
I'm
a
familiar
couple
with that.
years
Yeah,
ago.
it was great.
Yeah, and this is right off the show floor at Amiga 34. This is the final CAD drawing of the new Amiga 500 case design. This has got, of course, lots of, aside from it being totally, re-engineered from the ground up. It's got it's got all new ports. It's got more easily accessible panels for expansions and things like that. Let me ask you a question, Aaron.
Yeah, man.
Do you think that there are enough people out there that are that passionate about the 500 in particular for this to be successful? I know the 1200 is sort of like the 500, obviously the best-selling Amiga.
Yeah.
But the 1200 is the Amiga that has the most, I would say, the most expandability.
No.
You don't think so?
Oh,
no, I'm
God,
talking about
no.
the wedge-shaped Amigas. I'm not talking about the
Oh,
towers.
okay, yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I would say.
So
Well, I don't know. I take that back.
Okay.
The 500 with that side, I'd say the 500 is still the man.
Okay.
When it comes to wedges.
So you think that that there is a market for this? There are people that have 500 that have lots of 500 upgrades and things that are interested in a new case for them.
Well, I'll tell you. It's funny you should mention this because, and I don't know if you've got this on the news, but I'll just go ahead and mention it. That I saw that Steven is getting ready to shut the door on the pre-orders for the new Checkmate run.
Right.
And, I believe it's the 17th or 18th is at midnight, which is dramatic. And I was thinking about it because I was like, boy, the one thing I don't have is a big box Amiga. But I do have a 500 that works now. And if I put it in one of those cases with the expansion gimmick that he's got in there for the 500, then you got something.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I would rather put my money in Checkmate that I could use to give my 500 a new way to use cards and whatnot. You get some Zorro expandability, stuff like that. Whereas with just a new 500 case, you're basically, you're getting some added ports or whatever. I guess it's really whatever flavor you're looking for.
I think if you're looking to keep the same original aesthetic of the 500,
Yeah.
the one-piece deal without that that keyboard that comes with the Checkmate, I think that this is going to be your best bet. However, like you said, you lose that whole tower expandability, where it's basically just a big empty box you can fill with expansions and stuff.
We don't know what the cost is going to be like on this. We know the Checkmate's pretty pricey, and I don't recall these being super expensive. So
I'm not sure if there is a price on these or not. We'll have to check back later to get the price on that.
I'm guessing it won't be as expensive as a Checkmate. So there's also that. Plus, they both like this, they've got this. They're showing this one with a Raspberry Pi in it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of weird. It's funny. We're in a almost a boutique era of the Amiga where you sort of get customize the things the way you'd like them.
Right.
And so if you do want to keep that aesthetic, and your case is like jacked up or old, or you just want the new port styles, there's nothing wrong with this. Plus, these guys, this is a proven commodity because having one of their cases, the Tapes from the Crypt graciously sent us. I know their quality. I can tell you that right now. It's a top quality case, fit perfectly, good to go. So you do know that you're getting a top quality case if you just want a replacement.
Now let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
What if you just took an already existing 500 case and you just took a saw and just hacked a big hole in the middle of it to put all your new ports? What would be wrong with that?
You could do that. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I would go that route, actually.
Would you?
Yeah,
Would you?
I think I would. Smart. I'll come over across this table and go on you.
And finally,
there was nothing wrong with that. That was a perfect mod.
Finally, news from our boy Neil over at Indie Retro News. There is a Wreck-It Ralph game available on the Amiga. So I'm assuming you saw the film Wreck-It Ralph.
I did.
Okay.
I saw the first one, yeah.
So the game itself in Wreck-It Ralph is actually Fix-It Felix Jr. And there is an Amiga port of Fix-It Felix Jr. that has just been released. And it's It looks really good, actually. I don't know if you know the saga of this, but they actually created a few Fix-It Felix Jr. like full-size arcade cabs.
Yeah.
And I believe Carrington from the arcade, the No Quarter podcast, actually ended up with one of these cabs. So I'm going to be really excited to check out the Amiga version. Video incoming. I'm going to check this thing out because I always thought this game actually looked pretty cool. It seemed like a kind of a reverse game where you're actually fixing things instead of causing destruction, which is an interesting viewpoint. But anyway,
wow, this looks really good.
Yeah.
I'd not heard of this.
So if you're interested in that, check over at indieretronews.com to get the full.
That's outstanding.
Scoop. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
I'm grabbing that thing big time.
All right, Aaron.
Beauty.
Let's talk about Batman.
Well, we covered the movie.
He's a bad
pretty well.
man,
I should mention,
Batman.
Bo. This came out in June of '89.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you want to take a guess on the box office on this thing?
I'm going to guess this did pretty well. I'll tell you what. Give me the budget, and I'll tell you how much it made.
$35 million.
$35 million. I'd say this thing made $200 million.
$411 million.
Wow, really well.
So
really well.
it did real well. So and who knows what it would be brought up to today or whatever.
Right.
So you knew that if there's a high dollar movie property, there's only one company lurking around. They're going to be all up in it. It's Ocean, brother.
That's right,
the
man.
Ocean.
That's right.
Of movie licensing, and so Ocean was like, we're in. We're in. We got to get some of this action. Yeah, got to get them some. They published and developed this bad boy, Ocean, in house. So this was on the OCS, and of course this came out on a lot of different computers back in the day. Now I have to say I didn't look at any of these other ones. I'm kind of hoping. Did you have a look at any of the other ones?
I played the NES version of this game a ton.
Is it just like this?
No, it's nothing.
I didn't think so. I think is there a Genesis version or maybe it's Game Gear? I know I've played this on something else. I've played on the Amiga.
I don't know. I mean, the fact. I mean, I'm not sure with like the level design and the bat hook and all that stuff that was present in all the versions, or if this was an Amiga exclusive.
So, the computer versions of this particular game, not because we could sit here all day naming off Batman games. You got your Amstrad, all right. You got your Atari ST, of course. You got your C64. This did have a PC DOS. I didn't have this. I was going to play it, but I don't have it. It had a ZX Spectrum release as well. So it came out a lot. And then there were several compilations that included it as well. This had a big team working on it. I mean, it's just a lot of people. So they didn't just get some goof to go to work on it. I mean, they brought the house basically to this thing. So what is this game? Well, you play as Batman. Good move. And you are basically recreating some of the scenes in the film. Now, having seen the film, you can appreciate some of this boatster. So, of course, it's split in the levels. And this game sort of has like, let's say 2.5 different types of games in one.
Yeah, I think 2.5 is fair.
To be fair. First, you've got your kind of platform. It sort of reminded me, you know what it sort of reminded me of was Navy SEALs on the Amiga. I'm sure they're very similar movie games. I like Navy SEALs a little bit more than this one, but that's what it reminded me with the grappling hook and instead of shooting, of course, you've got the batarang.
I didn't look at the docs to see what that thing. It looks like he's throwing some kind of a green sponge at his enemies. Is this the batarang?
I always assumed it was a batarang.
Okay.
You know, it's funny. I've got the throw batarang. I got the docs right here. So the first level, you're in the Access Chemical plant, and you're going through, and was in the movie, was a scene in the movie, and you're going through, and you're trying to get through to the end. I mean, I guess he's just trying to get out, or just knock out all the bad guys. So you go through this, and this level consists of lots of ladders and lots of girders, basically, or floors. And to get up and down, you have to use your bat rope. You kind of hold the joystick in a direction and hit the button, and he kind of throws out the
Yeah. So
batarang,
what famous video game do you associate this kind of a deal with?
Well, this has been done a million times. Like I said, to me, the closest one, right off the top of my head, I think like a Navy SEALs type game. But
Okay, well, there's a game that came before this that really set this mechanic on fire, and that's Bionic Commando.
Yeah, Body Commando. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think. Did you have as much trouble? First of all, there were several things on this level. I had forgotten about this game. I hadn't played it for years because I was never a huge fan back in the day. Number two things I'd forgotten. One, you can use the bat rope to actually whack a dude, that came into play quite early when I figured it out because there was no way to hit guys that were shooting at you diagonally.
Right.
Secondly, and I did remember this from when I played it before, I had a heck of a time dismounting the bat rope. You can't just. Of course, if you're on a system that has multiple buttons, not so tough. You just let go of the button or whatever. But this, of course, you're doing all this one button. You've got to sort of let go and hit down or to the side.
Yeah, you've got to. I think you've got to hit down. I think that's what. Yeah.
It's funny. I could do it, but I'm not sure exactly what I was doing. But I could do it, but not every time. And I can't tell you the number of times that I went to swing across a chasm. I hit the button at the wrong time, or whatever, just fell. I had to go all the way back to the whole level. It was so frustrating, and this level drove me nuts. I did get through this level, though. It took forever. So once you get through it, you're going to encounter a bunch of bad guys who will shoot or throw sort of like grenades or something that kind of arch down, like bombs, basically. Let's go with hand grenades. And so you've got to negotiate your way through this. It's pretty simple stuff in terms of the way you get through it. It's not rocket science. But Batman, and eventually I gave up and just put it on Invulnerable Batman.
Yes.
Okay, but I didn't.
That was my move from almost the beginning.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do it on the actual Amiga. I had to go back and.
Does the code not work on the Jam?
I didn't use the code. I had a loader on it, but so as you negotiate your way through this, and like I said, if you're playing this for real without any cheats, it'd be very difficult. There's no way I would have gotten through it without cheating. I'll be honest with you. And I never got through it when I was playing this back in the day. It was hard. I watched a guy go through it, and a lot of it is knowing where the bad guys are. I mean, or memorizing their locations. Eventually, you get to the end of the level, and I've forgotten about this, but you end up whacking a guy. And then the level ends, and you see the guy careen off the platform and fall into a tub of toxic waste. Which in the movie,
it's the Joker.
That's the Joker. But it's so the guy just looks like that every other guy.
Well, yeah.
And you whack him. And the funny thing is, when you knock him into the tub, it says warning. The sign over the tub says warning.
Don't fall in here.
Toxic gas or something like that. I was like, that ain't gas. I remember thinking that's an odd thing to write there. So, and then you complete that level. So, your first impressions, because you've not played this.
No.
Your first impressions of the controls, the graphics, the music, which you haven't talked about, and overall, what is just that first level type stuff?
Well, I could tell from the beginning that this was a game that launched 1,000 ships on the Amiga. I mean, if you were in a store in '89, arguably the high point of the Amiga in terms of its commercial popularity, because the 500 had just been released. It was a low-cost option. Lots of people were getting on board. And boom, you've got Batman, the biggest movie, biggest superhero movie in ages.
Right.
A perfect vehicle for a video game. Then you look at the back of the box and it just looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
All the colors, and then there's full soundtrack and stuff like that. So this game had everything going for it until you hit the start game.
Oh.
Batman moves he makes Lionheart look like Fred Astaire. I mean, he's very, very stiff. He seems to have no.
Did you see the movie?
Does he move stiffly?
He's got that rubber suit, and he can't turn his head. They make a joke with that, like one of the later movies. Is like in this one, you can actually turn your neck. He's like, oh. And this is before the bat nipple had come into play, but still, it's a big. So I mean, technically, they were probably, if you're emulating the film, they got that part right.
Yeah, if you're trying,
he walks like RoboCop.
He does. He walks very much like RoboCop, which was excusable in RoboCop's case because he was in fact a robot. Now. That's fine. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how your guy moves. It matters how your guy plays. And I will say that for a one-button system, the grappling hook, while not perfect, adds a lot of fun to what would ordinarily be just a normal, shooting, climbing up and down ladder platforming game.
Well, what they went for, I guess, in lieu of jumping, you're grappling.
Just like Bionic Commando.
Yeah.
That's, I think that my biggest problem with the first level was the fact that you as Batman have very limited ways. Like you said, you can fire the bat hook at the guys that are above and diagonally.
Yeah.
But other than that, you have no other ways to take these guys out. And these guys have killer aim. No matter where you are, they will.
Ammo.
Yeah, they will hone in on you and take you down.
I will say one thing I did like was that if you just touch a bad guy, they just basically, which is the way it should be. You're Batman.
Right.
It always bugs me in these games where some loser comes up and he's whooping your tail. It's like, I'm Batman. So Batman's getting taken by the street bum. That's the way it should be. If you just touch me, just assume you're dead.
Right. So I, after dying 3 or 4 times on the first level, I immediately looked up on Lemon the code for unlimited Batmans and unlimited health and the level skip, which was also useful.
Yeah. So once you get past that first level, now I've got a lot to say about this second level. And this second level is basically you're driving toward the Batcave and escaping pursuit. At least that's what it said. At the end of the level, it's like you escaped the Joker or whatever. So what you've got here is an outrun or even a Lotus style looking race section where where you're in the Batmobile of the movie and you're steaming along. Okay, now it looks great. It looks great. It looks
fantastic.
It's very much like Outrun.
Yeah.
Except for one fatal flaw. This section of the game is crap. I never got past it because I hated it. The only thing you do in this is an arrow in front of you, and it will occasionally point to the left or the right. And when it does that, you can shoot a hook out from the side of your car that will grapple a post and turn your car real fast.
Right.
Like Automan, if you remember the old Automan show.
Is that like Manimal?
No. Well, yeah, it's a lot like Manimal in quality, but Automan had this car that instead of taking turns like a curve, it would just go like that. That's what just effectively.
Which is cool. I mean, when you saw that in the movie, you thought, man.
I thought that was dumb.
Really? You didn't think that was rad?
No, I didn't. I thought it was dumb.
I thought it was cool.
That's not the way driving a car works. That's not the way it's going to work. Plus, we both know that those street poles are just going to yank rally.
It's true. They're not built for that kind of stress.
You're in a huge, heavy tank, but this street pole, have you ever seen anyone run over a street pole and just fall off?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
There's the physical aspects of going 80 or 90 miles an hour and making a direct 45-degree turn. It would break your body. Would seem.
It's true.
All of it's stupid. And I remember seeing that scene in the movie. I'm like, man, it's a good thing there aren't any pedestrians on that corner. They would have had their heads cut off by this road.
Yeah.
There were everything. So
Batman's just surrounded by collateral damage.
they go and they put this decent engine together, okay, and they do all this stuff, and then this is what they do with it. Where's the Bat guns? Where's the Bat missiles? Where's something? Let me shoot something or run some guys off the road like Spy Hunter. Something. There's nothing.
There's nothing.
And if you miss these turns, you just run into a blockade of cops, and the game ends.
Right. That's the end of the
Batman.
game. Yeah.
Which that was inevitably how I would lose. With this. So your thoughts on this? My opinion, a huge missed opportunity.
Well, it is. It's a huge missed opportunity, and it's a shame because it looks so good. Like, in my opinion, first of all, let's not compare this to the Amiga version of Outrun. There is no comparison.
Oh, this is, in terms of graphically, this is way better. Yeah, but I mean, the gameplay-wise, it's just as good.
There's actually things that graphically that this game does, like, for example, putting the buildings up. Of course, it's repetitive scrolling things going by, but there's
just like Outrun.
Yeah, but there's a good sort of mix of things. In the background, there's actually parallax scrolling in the background. You've got like the really dark skyline. Then you've got the lit skyline in front of it. I don't know why they thought, maybe they were just like me. Maybe they were just like 8-year-old me. And when they saw that hook shoot out and they could make that quick turn, they were like, we're putting that in the game. That's it. But it turns this into less of a driving game and more of a, I don't know, just like reaction test.
It's crap.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
It's not good.
Well, did you enjoy the driving level? Were you ever able to beat it without cheating?
No.
And the cheats don't help you on this.
No.
You're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, so I hit the old, I think it was F10 or something, and I moved on.
Speaking of screwed, let's talk about the next level. I'll let you explain this one to me. You get to the Bat Cave, and it's time to put stuff together on a computer screen. What the heck was this?
Yeah, I didn't understand how this worked.
I didn't either. And I've read the docs. And I still don't know.
I know that you're trying to create a formula that is I think you're trying to reverse engineer the toxin that the Joker is making that makes everybody laugh. That's the idea. And the way that it works
it worked. I played that level and I cried.
It looks like kind of like a slot machine mixed with like Candy Crush or something like that. And I'm sure that there's some sort of a puzzle element in it, but I could not figure it out. I didn't know what was going on.
I printed the docs to help me with that level. And here's the score is based on the amount of time taken to find the correct combination. So I went and watched the guy play it, and I'm like, well, let's do what he did. And there you go.
By the time I got to that part, when I went to YouTube, I was like, well, I'm just going to finish up the game just watching the playthrough.
This is where you can just write puzzle elements on the back of the box.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're just going to go right past that one. So next you're on to the another wasted opportunity. This is the car level in the Batwing, the jet.
Right.
Now, in the movie, if you'll recall, there's a scene where the Joker has a bunch of parade floats, all right?
Mm-hmm.
He's diabolical, that guy. And what he's done is filled them full of Joker gas, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
And so Batman comes through with the Batwing, which is this cool jet.
It's awesome.
He rolls in, and he has a pincer so on the front that collects all those balloons, and he flies them out the ocean or something, whatever.
Just like Superman, into the sun.
He gets rid of them. Yeah. Everything. Don't ever go out in the open sea. There's all kinds of crazy crap just laying out there. So this is just like the driving level, except you're in number one, you're in the Batwing. Number two, it's a bit slower, and you can kind of move up and down. And number three, you can actually complete without wanting to die, but it's just not that much fun.
No.
Again, you're in a jet. You can't do anything cool. You just run into balloons.
Yeah.
Lame. I didn't like this level either. What about you?
This is, I mean, again, if you're just reading about this game and you're like, you get to fly the Batmobile, you get to fly the Batjet.
Oh, yeah.
You're on board 100%. It's just the execution was so poor. I really wish what I would have enjoyed is something like Star Fox, with the Bat, where you're actually flying around an open environment, like a wireframe environment, you're collecting the balloons. That would have been rad.
Yeah. So once you get through collecting all the balloons, it's time for another grapple fest, this time in the cathedral. All right, so it's exactly like the first level, except it's I think it's longer. I never got past this one either, just because I was just like, I'm dying here, physically dying.
The Joker must have invested in some biotech company, because he has an army of twins.
Yeah,
just all the goons are all the same guy.
That's all the bad guys have, like they it's almost like the clones. It's just like Star Wars. Just got a bunch of clones, and these clones have crack shot eyes that are deadly from anywhere on the screen. So, I mean, it's more of the same, just go up and up and up. It's the same exact thing. And eventually, you get to the roof, and the Joker's there. Now, I have to say, I didn't get that far. I don't know. I'm assuming you saw the end of this game. Because at the end, the Joker is, which is just like in the film. If you remember in the movie, I always thought this was kind of a funny way to end the movie. The Joker is getting lifted off the top of the cathedral by one of his goons. And so Batman grapples the Joker's foot to a big slab of it's like a big statue.
Right.
And the Joker's holding this ladder, and he can't hold on, and he plummets to his doom. Now, I believe I can't remember in the movie if he falls in the water or not.
There's something that happens at the end.
It seemed like they didn't recover his body.
Well, I thought that they found his body, but it was like a mannequin, and there was like a recording device in there. It was him laughing.
No, that wasn't that. I would have remembered that. Oh, I'm glad we're watching this, because I almost forgot. This level does include something that is so stupid, I forgot about it. The Incredi-Rats, they're on this level. These are the most infuriating enemy in this game, are these rats. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have to avoid them, and of course you can't jump. So you've got to do a lot of wacky swinging, hanging from the ceiling.
Picard's with me. There were laughing teeths. You don't remember the laughing teeths?
I do remember them, but I thought he was dead, I think. In this, he's dead. I know that.
Yeah.
And at the very end of the level, after you've gotten past all the rats and the clones, and you've grappled your way to the top of this cathedral, you see the Joker get on this ladder on the helicopter, and you whack him, and he flies off to his death. And it shows him falling a long way before he plunks on the ground. So it was pretty satisfying. What I liked is that when that happens, it just says, the end. But luckily, there's more after that. But still, I thought it was funny because I was like, man, it'd be crappy way to end the game. I'll give the game credit. The ending's pretty satisfying. These levels where you swing around are the best levels, but they are tedious.
Yeah, they're
super
too long.
tedious.
They're too long. They're too difficult. It's the hallmark of European platform design, where you're just sort of meandering around with no clear path. There's no real way set out that the game
there's
wants
only
you to
one
go.
way to go.
Yeah, but it's not satisfying to negotiate the level. It's not as if you're discovering new and interesting things as you move across it. It's just more the same.
It's not the most fun.
Contrast this with a game like Castlevania. Okay, Castlevania, you're doing the exact same thing. You're negotiating these sprawling levels that aren't necessarily linear, but the game is always throwing new things at you, new monster types, new abilities, hidden things. This game, it's just like if you play the first 3 rooms, you've played the whole level.
I will say this about this game: if I'm Ocean, all right, and my games are of various qualities, I'm like, listen, fleet of programmers, make me a game. And I'm the programmers. I'm like, listen, we got to make a game that's going to sell buckets of consoles or computers. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have the bat, just like you said. We're going to have the bat wing in here. We're going to have the car. We're going to have it all. They're going to have all kinds of modes of gameplay. And they did it. It's just all different modes aren't that good.
Right.
And so, but it was like if you're the guy at Ocean, you're like, whoa. Mm-hmm. And you've got to look at this thing. You've got to grade this from when it was released in '89 and '90, that era. It wouldn't be novel.
No,
I mean, I will say that. But it would look good. Mm-hmm. It's expansive. You know, I mean, it takes you probably an hour to go through the whole game.
Yeah, and I'm sure that there were people that got this. Of course, the famous Batman pack brought to you by David Pleasance.
Absolutely.
That was a huge moneymaker for Commodore.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And this is not a horrible game. It's playable. It's just way too difficult and tedious. But again, we're coming at from a perspective of somebody that can sit down and play anything that they want.
I will say this: the Batman pack. I looked the thing up on it just to see exactly what they sold with it, what was in it. So it came on sale between October of '89 and September of '90. All right. So in the UK, you were in the Batman themed box, and you got Batman, the New Zealand story, and you got FA 18 or something, which we played all those games, and you got Deluxe Paint 2.
That's great. That's a great deal.
So they did an initial run of 10,000, and they ended up selling 186,000 Bat packs.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Which was crazy, and it was the most successful bundle ever released.
Ever bundled.
Of course, we hear about the Bat pack. That one comes up over and over and over, and so that's connected in no small part to the success of the film. Plus, if you look at superhero games of this era, I mean, it's much like the movies. It's like there's not like a ton of like mega great superhero games walking around. There were some.
This is much better than the Superman game for the Amiga.
Remember
that
game? Remember what was that game that you and Hatch had played?
That was Superman.
Yeah. I mean, that was no good. So, you know, and it's, hey, listen, this is way better than like Thundercats and stuff like that. So I mean, this is not a bad game. I would call this a very average game.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Absolutely.
I didn't think it was super great, but it wasn't the worst thing I've played.
I can't help, as I was struggling through this before I put in the cheat, I just kept looking down at the HUD and looking into Batman's eyes. That look of confusion and bewilderment that you see there. That was me.
We should mention that there is. What did you think of the music in this? I thought it was tedious and annoying.
You could tell it was 16-bit music. Again, it's on the back of the box. It sounds like a 16-bit track. There's lots of voices and stuff, but I mean, it's not a good.
It was very good.
Yeah.
There is digitized audio in this, and you can hear it a couple times. One, you hear the Joker say, "Ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight." You also, at the very end of the game, you hear Batman say something like, "Make sure to tell all your friends," which I think that was pretty funny. And the Joker laugh, and so there's some digitized audio in it. And some digitized graphics are in it.
Look at Batman. In order to avoid these rats, right now he's just swinging back and forth like the biggest doofus the world has ever known.
Here, but ludicrous.
Yeah.
But Hey, listen, rats and bats. There you go. Usually bats is on the side of the wrong, so at least this time you're playing the bat.
That's
screw everybody
true.
else over. But I would give this an average score. Now, how did it get judged by the reviewers of the day? Now, we're going to say an average score is, between, say, 70 and let's say 75 and 85%, somewhere in that ballpark. So, Lemon gives this a 7.55. Pretty average for Lemon, Amiga Action gave this an 82% in 89, then went back and revised it to a 78 a couple years later. I love that. Amiga Format gave it a 90. Amiga Power gave it a 79. AUI gave this a 7 out of 10, and CU Amiga gave it an 88. So that's a lot of average scores in there.
Yeah, and I would place this game solidly in that category.
Yeah, this is a C. This is a C. I'm going to say C plus, and I
Yeah.
would say the thing is this: if they had made the driving sections better, this
could
could
have
have been
been
a
an
big
A.
winner.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't
If
know
they
about
would have
that.
made, if they would have made the platforming section shorter, they wouldn't have necessarily even had to make them better because they're fine.
They need to be better, frankly.
If they would have made the driving sections anything close to like a real driving game, like Chase HQ, just imagine if you're chasing down the Joker mobile or something like that. That would have been great.
I would have. I'll tell you something honestly. I could have done without the platform sections if they would have had a really cool driving and flying component. You could have released a game squarely around that engine, and like you could have ripped off Chase HQ. There goes the Riddler. Go get him, or the Joker, whoever you're after, and then the Joker's henchman, and then. There's a scene in the movie, if you'll recall, where he takes the bat wing and he flies to the Joker, and the Joker pulls out this big, long revolver
huge pistol,
and blows the plane out of the air, which I always hated that, but something. Instead of just the lame things they did. It's amazing to me that they built this nice engine and they just, I don't know what else they would have done with it. I don't know if they made any other games.
Well, again, they were fulfilling what was set out to them by their manager, who's like, you need to make a platformer or a racing game, and you go for it. And then it's a perfect back-of-the-box game.
Yeah, you're right.
It wins. It's like the Redskins. They win the offseason every year. This game wins the back of the box.
What do you got for listener reviews this week, Boaster?
Graham Vebke says, yet another licensed title from Ocean, and I found this game more difficult than I remembered. The first platform level reminds me of Rolling Thunder and Castlevania Lords of Shadow with a grappling hook, and those enemies rarely ever miss hitting you.
Yeah.
The driving level, if you get there, reminds me of Chase HQ and probably had the potential to be the best part of the game, even with the weird grappling hook turn mechanic. I believe there is a flying level after making it to the Batcave and more platforming to do, but I couldn't get that far. Way too difficult, 5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Fold says, the game they claim sold millions of Amigas. Luckily, no bugger played it first. Average graphics, decent sound for the era, but this game is brutal. Within 5 seconds of the first level, you got guys coming at you. I've only made it to the car part once. With cheats, I saw the flying level and then discovered it has another massive rock-solid platform level. Worth a look, but nothing to write home about. 5 out of 10. If you want good Batman platform and driving, load up Batman Returns on the SNES.
I would go with Batman the Animated Series on the SNES. I think that's a better game.
Lobsterminator says, it's hard to give this an honest review due to emotional baggage. The controls are slow and clunky, and the difficulty is too high, but it's still nice to run through with trainers every 3 years. The monotone music still brings back fond memories of my early days of Amiga ownership, and the rope-assisted turns on the Batmobile remain cool. I give this a 6 out of 10 because I can't be too mad at it, but without nostalgia goggles, it might be closer to a 4. Pixels at Dawn says, I honestly expected to enjoy this game, but I was corrected within seconds as a dude shot me through a platform and I discovered, by comparison, Batman could only shoot in a straight line. That's true. What followed was a slow descent into madness. As the annoying music looped, Batman walked slower than RoboCop,
Wow.
and I was shot by guys who spawned behind me and guys who had free shots as I used the grapple. I didn't even get near the end of the first level and I was angry by the time I quit. I would delete this from my Amiga, but some ritual sacrifice seems more appropriate. 3 out of 10.
Oh, wow. Burial.
And the Duncan Styles says, I first played the CPC version of this game, and I think I prefer it just. The Amiga glams things up with prettier graphics, 3D driving sections instead of side-on, and sampled music, which is somehow less memorable than the 8-bits. We know the Amiga can do better than this. However, I do appreciate that you get multiple genres of game in one package, so a couple of points for variation. Not a fan of the ending, though. Who would know to immediately fire the bat rope at the Joker in order to finish the game?
Yeah.
What are you? Answer, disappointing. 5
Nice
out of
one,
10.
Bert.
Thank you.
You sound just like him. It looks like that we pretty much share the same opinion. I should mention, this comes in a black box with a logo on the front. It's a pretty plain Jane-looking box, and you can get these all day on the eBay. I saw them going anywhere from $9 to $16. They were in the UK.
Okay.
If you're wanting to add this one to your collection, it is out and ready to rock and roll.
As we wind down the show, I do want to make an Amiga Ireland announcement. I have officially purchased my tickets for the show, so I'm ready to descend upon Athlone this weekend. Probably tomorrow, I'm going to be buying my plane ticket. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all you fine folks that are making the voyage to Amiga Ireland, and for those of you that have supported me through the GoFundMe campaign, thank you so much. And for those of you that aren't going and threw in a couple bucks, I will try and make it worth your while to give you a front row seat to all the talks and all the action and everything once I get over there. So,
and next year's GoFundMe will be for Boat's liver transplant.
Yes, absolutely. After all that Guinness. I want to remind everybody that we do record this show live every week on Twitch. We'll be on Twitch for the time being. Twitch.tv/Amigos Retro Gaming. I want to thank our Twitch Prime subscribers, Aaron.
Ooh.
If you are, you can subscribe to Amigos on Twitch. It's another way you can support the show. If you are an Amazon Prime subscriber, you can actually subscribe to one Twitch channel per month, and we get the financial benefits of that, and it costs you nothing. So feel free to do that if you want to. Just like Roushi MSX, 6MMBRX, Pixels at Dawn Gaming, Graham, G. Vebke, whoever that is, Chris Folds, Mohawk Mall, Brother Bill, David Pick, and Picard 2010. So thank you guys for subscribing on Twitch. Aaron, last week, the Patreon Song Challenge was Joy to the World.
That one I knew. I had to say that's one of the few times I've actually got one.
AKA Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
Yes. Yes, that was painful to hear.
Now, a lot of people think that that's a Three Dog Night song, but I was corrected by Pac Billy, who said, a lot of people will tell you this is a Three Dog Night song, and they did make it famous, but they were basically a cover band. All of their hits, he's talking about Three Dog Night, were other folks' songs.
Really?
One is The Loneliest Number, was a Nilsson song. Old Fashioned Love Song was a Paul Williams number. Joy to the World,
that one I knew.
Joy to the World was written and first performed by the great Hoyt Axton, whom you know is the dad from Gremlins. Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, the dad from the Black Stallion. The Black Stallion. That was a horse movie, I'm guessing.
No.
I'm guessing.
What tipped you off?
Well, at first I thought it was about the Black Crypt, but then I realized that was the Black Crypt. Or the Black Cauldron. There's a lot of black movies.
Just keep digging it, Boat.
Not everyone is aware of this guy's career as a folk singer. So congratulations to Pac Billy, Brother Bill, Terry Howard, and Jonas Rule. And now before we dive in to the Patreon song for this week, Aaron, let's talk about what's been going on over in the channel. All right?
All right, yeah, let's see because I've been out of the loop. I'm anxious to see what we've been doing.
So over on the YouTube, we have, let's see, as I struggled to pull this up because I was not prepared.
You?
I know, hard to believe, right? So we've got probably the biggest news of the week is that the Taze Valley Classic Computer Club met once again to fix old computers and play old games. That was so much
fun. This is one of my favorite meetings we've had.
Yeah, so
and I sat on my duff and watched John clean a 1541 floppy drive while we chatted with people on the Twitch channel. So much fun. And then you guys played just a boatload, no pun intended, of Atari computer games.
Yeah. And so it's a fun time. You can watch an archive of that stream with the Atari going on in one window, and then two windows full of John Marshall, fan of the show, and Aaron Fix, an old 1541.
There's a lot of bald going on in there.
Yeah, there is. You could never have too much bald.
You know, John's got this gimmick to hook the 1541 up to the PC. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to. We ran out of time before we really got to get too far into it. So probably the next time we come around, we'll be getting into it hot and heavy.
It was an abbreviated meeting because of the next thing that happened, which was actually earlier in the day but released later. It's the second installment of Amigos role-playing. This was a game ran by another friend of the show, supporter, Matthew Larimore, a.k.a. Evil Matt. Came in from Kentucky.
He's evil.
To run this game of Delta Green. So what is Delta Green, Aaron?
Well, you played it.
Yes.
Delta Green is a sort of a spin-off game on Call of Cthulhu. This game took place in modern times where you basically work for an outfit that investigates, old one-esque horrors in the real world and tries to take care of what's going on with them. We had Evil Matt, Boat, myself, one of Brent's last super sick appearances before he went completely nuts. And, of course, Uncle Larry was also here, Leroy. So we had a good crowd. We played. We ended up playing about 3.5 hours.
Yeah. They're the archive from soup to nuts, 3 hours and 25 minutes. So if you're looking for something to kind of put on in the background while you're working on something else, just listen to a bunch of guys fool around playing some Cthulhu. It's a good time.
I've heard people that listen to this whole thing and they really dug it.
Yeah,
so, and it's fun, and Matt runs a pretty brisk game. So
he does.
Wasn't a lot of
I was very impressed with his skills as a DM. But there's more, Aaron. There's lots more.
Okay.
I released my Atari 1200 XL stream, which I played some of the biggest games on the system. Actually, we played a little Puyan.
Are you still working off your book?
No, this was a free for all. I just was playing whatever I wanted to.
Yeah.
So started out with some Puyan, then we dove right into Caverns of Mars. I'm still working on my capture card situation. That
looks pretty good.
Yeah, soon after I took this all apart and put it back together, I got rid of those unsightly vertical lines, but still, it's a pretty sharp image, and so I was happy with that. Played some Pingo, and closed things out with a Rescue on Fractalus, and an absolute horrible game called Taxi Cab Hill. Just one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. So feel free to check that out.
One of the last things I did before I got sick was played some Atari and Coco. I played both versions of Canyon Climber, and I played both versions of Puyan because you had chastised the Coco version, and I thought the Atari version played better. I will admit that, but the Canyon Climber played much better on the Coco.
Mm-hmm.
So they're comparable. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. All right. I do want to thank those fine folks that are with us in Twitch right now. Edvin Helen, who says, you look relaxed, Aaron.
You got that right, buddy.
That's why we're filming this way, just kicking back. Pixels at Dawn, Jason Warrens, Picard 2010, Macintosh Librarian.
You know who that is, don't you?
Kate Fox. Let's see. Who else is here? Tara K is here. L. Curtis B is here. All the fine folks in the chat, thank you so much for joining us live. It's always a party. We record the show Fridays around 5:30 Eastern time. We'll usually do Amigos and then our Sinclair, and then for the next 2 weeks we'll be doing the Coco show. So you'll get all 3 shows on the network back to back. If you'd like to watch live, we'd love to have you. Aaron, it's time. It's time for the Supporter Song Challenge.
Oh, man.
So if you know the correct answer to this song, you can send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com. And it goes a little something like this. You ever stretch the vocal cords a little bit like this?
No, I never have done that.
Take a fold of flesh and pull it.
I suggest you stretch it with a straight razor, bro.
All right. So here we go. Bjorgen, Nundenson, Terry Howard, Reflection, Simon, Captain Crispy, Kilobytes and Caffeine, Mike W., Deckard, Threepwood, Gary, Heather, Free Lunch, Kate Fox, David, Pickford, Cameron, Armstrong, Andy Jones, Lobsterminator, Craig McClellan, 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast, Bernard Quinn, Retro Man Cave, Tim Drew, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Cal Etter, Rob O'Hara, Howard Nibs, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig, Sean Zoho, Darren Lomax, Colin 419, Bart Bid, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Leaf Kellan, Alan Kababche, Keto Cote Level Lord, John Marshall, Matthew Perron, Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Dead Boy, Biggie CTZ, The Slow Norris, Stefan Sorgard, Mortensen, Edvin Helen Blindo 75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Folds, Dreamcatcher Lauren Giroux, Graham Bebke, Lane Denson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Gary Huckasey, Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles, Tapes from the Crypt, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rulo, THT, Eric Nelson, Kim Tommy Humborchstad, Daniel Bingston, Brutal Barracuda, Darren Coles, Jason Warnes, Pixels at Dawn, and Kjellbjorn Barman.
I think he just randomly said things.
No, that was rehearsed, and that was meticulously coordinated with the correct syllables, with the syllables of the lyrics.
Man, I guess I don't have the trained ear for this sort of thing.
You really don't. You really got it.
I did when I started the show, but you sort of worn my ear down.
Well, it's sort of like blunting a fine edge.
Yeah, you got that right. Trust me, a blunt is in order.
Aaron, next week we're gonna play. Speaking of Kjellbjorn Barman, we're gonna play Heimdall.
Oh, Heimdall. Okay.
Yeah. You know anything about Heimdall?
Nah, I know of it.
Little of this, little of that, percussion.
I know I've played that. Heimdall.
Heimdall.
We haven't played that before?
No.
Okay, sounds good. We'll give it a whirl.
All right. Well, guys, thanks as always for listening, and we'll be back next week with Heimdall. Until then,
adios. What was all that? We haven't played Heimdall before?
No.
You're sure?
I'm positive. Listen, man.
Hey, by the way, I sent you a link.
Oh, okay. I thought you were reminding me to do the videos.
No, you were talking about, remember you were wanting to find Graham's channel? So
okay.
Next week we could say something about it.
Okay, well, next week be like, this is Graham's channel,
well, no,
and then I'll
you
pull it
can
up.
add that to our subscriptions or whatever.
I don't know what you're talking about, and that's not how it works.
No. Our YouTube channels, we know how we subscribe to different YouTube
channels.
Oh,
okay.
That way you can find it in the future, is what I'm saying. I'm going to real quick.
I'm already subscribed. Oh, it's because I never do my YouTube browsing on this channel. Retrospective is the name of this channel.
Sweet.
Retrospective, so we'll remember that.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but we can mention it next
Yeah,
week.
absolutely. I've been wanting to mention it forever.
I'll be right back. We pee real quick, we'll crank up the next one.
Okay. So, guys, what do you think about this new setup? Are you okay with it? I know that we're not, like, directly facing you all the time, but it really, I think, helps our overall sound quality to not bleed into each other. And it's also kind of nice to be able to look at Aaron square in the eye as we debate these very serious topics. Oh, we played it on... yeah, we definitely have more room, and I'm a ton more comfy. I can get in here and I can do any kind of show stuff that I need to do without feeling like I'm breaking into Aaron's space.
All right. You don't have this game amongst your collection, do you?
Heimdall?
No.
I don't think so.
I'm talking about the game we're getting ready to cover for the Spectre.
No, we don't have Trapdoor. Yeah, we get 1 billion times more audio listens than video. Video is almost nothing, so we've got to make audio the paramount.
You talking to me?
No, I'm talking to the chat. If it seems like I'm not making sense, it's because I'm not.
Give me another top.
Seem a little strange.
How was that? But are we happy with that episode?
Yeah.
I put a ton of Batman, and it was, well, I play a lot of Batman. This game, not as much.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your feedback. I will try to accommodate both ways as best as I know.
What's going on?
No, we don't do the video version of the podcast. I actually looked to see how to do that, and I couldn't figure out how to do it. And I don't think we're going to go that route. In fact, Twit is the only podcast I know that does a video version on iTunes.
That is I'm confused. Don't worry about me. Ignore.
But yeah, I agree, guys. I do like the brick wall behind us. I've thought about turning things around, but
let's dismantle everything.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, looking at our numbers now that we have real numbers on like how the show is consumed, the audio just dwarfs the video. So I want to make our audio as good as possible for those folks. Yeah, I think, like I said, maybe for when I have some time off school and I have some time to sort of dismantle it, because I realize the curtain is not the most engaging background.
We should just take the curtain and just have it outdoors.
Yeah.
It'd be much cooler. If I just open the door, just let the air come in, the animals.
And I would also be interested to know how the analytics work with that, Curtis. If you're able to tell, how many people are actually tuning in, because I've never heard of anybody in my immediate circle listening or watching a video version of a podcast on iTunes rather than just going to YouTube. Have you ever heard of anybody tuning in? I don't even know how you tune in. Like, what app do you use to watch a video version of a podcast on iTunes?
I don't have iTunes. But here's what you do. I got it.
Okay.
You ready? It's time for the comeback. Just get the green screen.
That's right. That's right.
Down this wall, and you just put a brick wall.
It comes full circle.
Think about it.
It comes
and
full
you
circle.
can just leave it hung.
Yeah.
I'm sure Eve would be down.
Oh yeah. She loved when the green screen was up and we could never use the curtain. The view outside, Aaron, show the
It'd be dark.
Show the view. You go the other way. Look at it. Picturesque. Pitch darkness with a couple of.
In the summer, it would have been pretty cool.
Yeah.
Summer's over, yo.
Yeah.
Now it's dark and desolate and nasty.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a work in progress for sure, guys. We will in the hot tub. Man, that's what we should have done, a hot tub show.
I tried to push that. You weren't buying it.
I know. It's.
You talk about drawing some video numbers. That would have been the pay window right there.
All right.
It feels like winter's here.
Winter is
29 degrees.
Yeah, it's 28 this morning.
That's tough when it was like almost 100 and just like 2 weeks ago.
To tell you the truth, I like the winter. I know you're a summer guy. I'd rather have winter.
I hate it so much.
We need to change our scene. Prepare for craziness,
We've got a
guys.
scene? Oh.
As I don't know what needs to be set up here. So.
Come on, Jason.
-2C. I don't know. Can you say that in American, Edvin? I don't know what that means. If you enjoy our Sinclair and want
This is way more comfortable than the other way.
I know. It's way more comfortable.
Everyone can enjoy my crotch. Always nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wait till I wear a kilt on this sucker.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
People didn't like the gimmick.
Well, they I think it makes sense. The brick wall behind us is more attractive than this behind us here, for sure.
Remember that Amigos banner we had? Remember that? Or an Amiga banner? Someone gave us
Oh yeah, it's the Slow Norris.
You could hang it from the edge of the table here.
Oh man, that's actually a fantastic
that way
idea.
you can't see nothing right now.
Well, it wouldn't
not
look,
necessarily that banner, but something you could
well,
hang it.
Eventually, what we're going to do is I'm going to make the camera such that it's going to be, get out of the way. it's going to be like we've got to have where it's like it's going to be like that. So you're not going to be able to see our lower extremities. Maybe something like
that is disappointing for everyone.
Maybe something like that.
That's when I start standing up through the show.
That's true. That's true. Unfortunately, we've got all this space up here to fill up, which I don't know how to do that either.
You can move the bar up and have the bar above us instead of under us.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. That's against my deepest held convictions. All right. Thank you, Picard. That's Watt Powell Park up there on the wall. Or,
that was an interesting stadium back in the day.
If you by interesting you mean poorly constructed, and
I mean it was ancient, Boat. Give it a break.
Well, they didn't know how to build things in the old days.
Oh my God! Yeah, Yankee Stadium's dumb.
Yeah, there will be improvements on this, and I realize that the cords are all a mess and everything's
What are you
horrible.
saying, Kate? You don't want to check my legs out? I think I can't believe. It's a shame shorts weather's over.
Yeah,
And there's been many a day where we did the show Boat wore no pants whatsoever.
like we could just do that, but then you get like tons of room above our heads, which is also not ideal. We need the problem is that we can't go any narrower, or you can't fit us both in the frame. So it's a work in progress.
I think Jake should just sit on my lap during the.
I could do that.
Festivities.
We could do that. Hey, what do you think about doing? Look at that. See how that's reflecting on there? That was freaking me out.
I get that a lot, Graham, my brother.
What do you think about this doing? Have I talked to you about our Christmas show yet?
No, you never told me anything. No, what's happening?
So, what do you think? Ravi had this idea, and I think it's a good one because we've never done it before.
Right.
What if for our Christmas show we do a rundown of the top demos that have come out for the Amiga this year?
Demos? Mm-hmm. Well, I haven't seen any of them, so yeah, I'll be down with that.
Okay, sounds good.
I haven't seen many. You mean that's all we would do? Is
That would be
demos?
that would be the show. So instead of doing a game that week, we just talk about some demos.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. Cool. All right. Trapdoor. Trapdoor. Okay. You ready?
Oh yes, sir. Let's read the chat. Oh, not ready. Totally oblivious. Man,
What?
you got like a basketball player size feet. You're a real big boy,
I am.
big monster of a man.
I am. Unfortunately, I don't
I
have.
bet if you kicked the sucker, it'd be like the Hulkster. You know, the big boot.
Was he the one with the big boot?
Oh, he's one of the ones that originally did the big boot.
Really?
Or Ernie Ladd, one of those huge guys that had the huge feet and
Yeah.
kick upside the head. You'd kill a sucker with those feet.
I have, and I might again.
That's why I stay on your good side.
All right. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Sinclair. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're going to be talking about trapdoor.
Trap door, all right?
Don't you fall in that trapdoor.
I don't want to fall in it after seeing what's down there.
No. Listen, what experiences, in the movies, all the time, it's like you want to hide something,
Yeah.
you just pull up the carpet. There it is under there. It's a trapdoor. You throw something down there, you're fine.
Yeah.
Have you ever actually seen a trapdoor in real life?
In real life. I have to ponder that. Well, in stages, I've seen stuff like that. Now, I've actually fallen down holes that were sort of like trapdoors. Does that count? Twice that happened to me.
Tell me about it.
Well, I may have mentioned this before, and it's a painful memory. But one time I was chasing a guy through my front yard, and someone had taken the middle section of the manhole cover off, and I went all the way crotch deep into the hole. That was very painful, Boat. A less limber man would have been killed.
Yeah.
So that was not fun. Then when I was pulling carpet at my current house, they have a sort of a trap door in the floor that's like it's sort of an event, a big one.
An event?
A vent.
Oh.
Like a big old square vent. I mean, I could drop my kid into it.
Really?
Yeah, it's
That's a big
big.
vent. What room is that in?
It's in there's two of them, but the one I'm talking about is right beside my kitchen in the living room area there, the library. And I forgot I'd taken that thing off and stepped right into that.
Oh,
and
my
pulled
gosh.
Another gimmick, the old crotch buster.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was no good. That was brutally painful.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't a limber stud of a man, it could have been curtains right there.
Right.
Curtains. but I managed to make it. But in terms of a hidden, when I think of trap door, I think of a lot of D&D, and also I think of Evil Dead. You remember the trap door in Evil Dead?
Never seen Evil Dead.
You've never seen? Oh, I forgot who I was talking to. There's a creature, there's a demon in the basement, and it keeps rattling the trap door, and it's going dead by dawn, dead by dawn. There's a chain on it that keeps rattling and laughing.
That's scary.
It's hideously scary, but it's funny too in a weird way. What about you? Have you discovered a trap door?
Unfortunately, no. I've had several doors that weren't trapped before.
You mean regular doors?
Yes. But I mean, sometimes you've got weird doors that you see in places that are like, especially in old houses, you'll see those like little half-height doors that are always creepy.
Like underneath stairs and stuff?
Yeah. Like cupboard doors.
But a trap door, I think, is always in the floor or the ceiling, right? That's a trap door.
Right. I think probably the floor. I think a ceiling trap door, I don't know how that would work.
I bet you got a trap door.
There is a trap door right there, actually.
There. I was going to say, I knew there was one in here.
Yeah.
With a little handle on it.
That actually,
so what's up in there?
That leads to the mystical land of the plumbing of the upstairs bathroom.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not super exciting. But one day my drain developed a leak, and I had to open that up and fix it from below.
Was there any weird creatures in there?
Not that I could remember, other than
how about worms?
This game reminded me of. It's weird, and maybe you didn't make this association, but this not the game, the series really reminded me a lot of Eraserhead.
I never saw that movie because I heard it was real bizarre and disturbing.
It is bizarre and disturbing.
You watched that?
It was during a phase in my life when I was trying to get over my sort of deal with violent and weird things.
Has it occurred to you that this may have contributed to your even more
It definitely contributed. But that film there's a recurring motif of these little worm creatures that crawl out of the floor. They crawl everywhere.
Yeah.
And these worms and trapdoor really made me think about that.
You ever seen Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan?
The earworm sequence.
Those things that's
horrible,
good. There was
horrible.
an excellent. You ever watch a show called Night Gallery?
No.
There's an episode called The Earwig.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm getting shivers just thinking about it.
This guy he covets another man's wife in the deep jungle, and so he hires a guy who gets an earwig. And he's gonna have a dude slip it into the guy's ear, and these things allegedly they will start in your ear and they will dig all the way through your head and try to come out the other side. They don't stop.
Stop, won't stop.
Well, they won't stop. Well, of course you get bad help. The dude puts the earwig in the guy's head that hired him to do it in the first place.
Oh.
So the guy goes through agonizing pain. Not to give this away. He goes through agonizing pain. No one knows what's going on. Finally, he wakes up and he's still alive. And they're like, listen, this thing crawled out the other side of your head.
Wow.
They find out what he'd done. And they're like, listen, that your pain and punishment is enough. We're not even going to arrest you. And he's like, I can't believe it. He goes, yeah, we bought you this ticket so you could go home. They're like, why are you being so kind to me? They're like, well, the doctor looked at that earwig. It was a woman and it had just laid eggs.
Oh, my gosh.
So it had laid a bunch of earwig eggs in the guy's head. Great episode.
So this is like Tales of the Unexpected.
Night Gallery was Rod Serling's follow-up to Twilight Zone. And it's not as consistently good as the Twilight Zone, but there are some prime episodes, and that's one of the better ones. But anyway, yeah, there's a lot of worms in the game, and I also had the exact same thought about the Star Trek 2 thing. Worms are kind of creepy outright.
Yeah.
You ever go fishing? Do you ever use use
Oh
worms
yeah,
as
use
bait?
real worms all the time.
See, I hate handling worms.
Yeah.
So I'm a fly fishing type if I go fishing.
Really?
Also,
I'd like to see you standing in waders in the middle of a river fly fishing.
Added bonus, I don't like to touch fish. So my lack of success is always a good thing. I don't go fishing all that much. I guess it goes without saying.
Another thing I wanted to talk to you about, because this is a classic example of 80s British claymation.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your earliest memories with the art form of claymation?
Gumby. Damn it. The Gumby show, which is way, way back. And I guess if it went a little bit further, of course you got the California Raisins. They were claymation characters. I know I'm forgetting a bunch of claymations from my childhood. I always thought claymation was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember that claymation video game, Clay Fighter?
I do.
Horrible.
Ichabod Clay.
Horrible game, but we played it because it was wacky. But I never heard of this show until we did start doing the Amigos, and people, and I don't know how it would have came up, but I remember hearing people talking about the show. It came up on one of the other episodes we did. And so I actually checked out the show before this week, and then I went back and watched a couple of little short episodes to get a flavor.
All the
for
episodes are short.
Right, but I mean, I watched, they're like 3 or 4 minutes each, I think. And I think I believe I actually did a little work of it. I think there were like 40 episodes or something like that. Yeah, here it is. It started running in 2000. Let me check that. Let's see here. Oh, here we go.
1984.
It started running, and it ran from 84. It was distributed from 84 to 2001. 40 episodes, 2 series, which that's a pretty good run for a little wacky thing. This was incredibly wacky, and the funny thing is, as ignorant as I am, I did not know until this week what came first, the game or the show. I had no idea. So I didn't realize this was a licensed game based on the show. I thought maybe the show came from the game. I didn't know. I know now. What do you think of the show?
Well, I've always loved claymation.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite things. When I was a kid, I remember. Do you remember the California Raisins Christmas specials?
Oh yeah. I
remember when the commercials
more than
for
one?
that. Yeah, they had them every year for like 3 or 4 years.
Really?
Because this is back when California Raisins.
And
were
they would
the
guest
bee's
star on other things too.
Yeah. But this is like they would have a whole half-hour claymation special, and it was so awesome. And I love, once I got older, like the process of making stuff. And
you actually made your own claymation?
Oh no! But I loved learning about it, and of
yeah.
course, there's been a renaissance lately. There's been several films like Paranorman, of course, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, all these new types of claymation that are so sophisticated. But when I watched the Trapdoor episodes, it really brought me back to that time in my childhood, looking forward to that California Raisins Christmas special.
I used to watch a lot of stop motion animation, which is sort of the same
It's like
thing.
the Ray Harryhausen stuff, right?
And that was always blew my mind how great that stuff was. So yeah, this is right in the same. I always wondered who had the patience to.
Not me.
It's not even the art, because clearly I can't mold clay or crap. But just the fact you'd have to have the patience to actually do this stuff. And I will say the little shorts they're pretty good. I mean, they're pretty well done.
Right.
I thought.
I love. In fact, I set this thing. You know how YouTube is. You start one and they just play constantly.
Yeah.
And I was down here doing some work for the show, and I watched probably 10 or 11 of them in a row, and they were entertaining. I enjoyed them. They were bite size.
They were pretty good.
Yeah.
I wonder when they played these. Did they play like a bunch in an hour, or did they just play?
That's a great question. I have no idea. Maybe somebody in the chat.
Yeah,
can,
I was wondering if they would just play these like one at a time,
or maybe during like commercial
fillers,
breaks. Yeah, fillers.
Were they scheduled? It's funny. I was looking into this show, and I don't know if you caught this. The wiki on this thing says the introduction scene was supposed to be a parody of Vincent Price. Did you get that?
Yeah, well, I only watched the intro once. And of course we were talking about Vincent Price and Bela Lugosi just the other night and their connection. And so this is just another way that they're connected. It's that Dracula, deep voice, convincing presence of Bela Lugosi and Vincent Price.
I will say the opening monologue here, as I look at it, it does look like something Vincent Price might say.
It's like through the vaulted door.
Somewhere in the dark and nasty regions where nobody goes stands an ancient castle. Deep within the dank and uninviting place lives Burke, overworked servant of the thing upstairs. But that's not nothing compared to the horrors that lurk beneath the trap door. For there is always something down there in the dark waiting to come out. Kind of creepy.
It is. This really sets you up like, man, this is going to be something scary. And it is a little bit scary, but it's also kind of like funny and nice.
Well, I wouldn't have been scared of this. Although,
well, you were also about 24 in 1984.
I was not, Boat. How dare you? I was only 13. Not that old. I wouldn't have been scared though. But I mean, I can see where this kind of thing would scare you. It's certainly weird.
Oh yeah.
Weird things scare people.
Yeah.
So, but let's have a go at this thing, Bo. What do you think?
Let's do it.
So, we were tasked this week with checking out the Trapdoor, the video game of Trapdoor. This was published by an outfit called Piranha. But now listen to some of these titles. This is what I like about the Spectrum, man. So these are just a few choice titles that were published by Piranha. Beast Enders. Oh, you like that one? Big Sleaze.
Man, are you sure these weren't sold in the back of a Coco magazine?
Flunky. Big fan of that one. Halo Jones. Judge Death. And of course, Through the Trapdoor, which is the sequel to this game. And of course, when you've got Big Sleaze and Flunky, you've got to have, and of course, Judge Death, you've got to have Yogi Bear. And also, by this, they were rounding themselves out. This got released in 1986, authored by a fellow named Don Priestley. We've touched on this guy before, and I'll go through his credits again here. Amongst his credited titles were 3D Tanks, City Patrol, Dictator, Flunky, Jumbly, and of course, Through the Trapdoor, but also Up for Grabs, Target, Popeye, and Benny Hill.
Wow.
And of course, we looked at Benny Hill some time ago. This also came out on the Amstrad and the C64. This originally sold, Boatster, £7, 95p, and the budget price to £3. Not too bad.
Not too bad at all.
So, this game, I will say, just right off the bat, I looked at the game before I went back and watched the show, and when I went and saw the show, I will give them credit. They Don here recreated the show pretty darn well in terms of the way it looks and the scenario, the scenery, including a little skull where the trapdoor's at. It actually did a good job. All the wacky crap that comes out.
This was not a hack job.
No.
The person that created this really liked this show.
He certainly knew his material. So it looks, so right off the bat, you're struck with the way it looks. Now, having played Popeye recently, I had a good idea how we were to go on this, and it's sort of similar. You play Burke, the big blue freak that works for the thing upstairs. Basically, it's a slave. I will say Burke's got a good attitude.
He does. He reminds me a lot of you.
Thank you. But his voice was surprising in the show. It's like, oi, around the.
I read on the wiki that is it's called like a Western County accent, which I guess is a variation on the British English.
He looks real cute, almost like a big, huge cookie monster. But he's small
on the show. He's not
right. But I'm
big.
saying his voice just didn't seem to fit.
What would you like him to sound?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
It seemed like it fit okay.
It may just be a culture thing to me, but I don't know. So anywho, the whole goal of this game is to serve the jerk upstairs. All right, that's your goal. He wants fed a lot. That's basically that's one of the big things you have to do. So what you've got to do is go through and I guess defeat these tasks. And the longer it takes you, the more angry the guy gets.
Right.
Which this guy got mad at me a lot for sucking. Because I'm not too proud to admit that when I first booted this up, I did the thing I always did. I just booted up without any prior knowledge of what was going on. And I had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I had no idea. What were your initial thoughts when you booted this thing up? Did you? I know you're such a snooty type that you went and looked at the documentation.
Well, I did both. I wanted to make sure that I had a feeling that this, after playing Popeye, that I was going to need some assistance.
Yeah.
Since this came from the same guy. So I consulted the YouTube and watched a bit of a playthrough before I started playing it, and I'm glad that I did because it clarified some things for me that were very important. So in this game, should I call it a three-dimensional open world Dizzy type game? Maybe. This is another. The Spectrum really has a lot of these games. It's like item manipulation managing inventory. Not really managing inventory, but finding things in your environment and using and combining them with other things to complete a goal.
I don't know how. I will say I printed out the manual for this, and the manual helps because without the manual, I would have had no idea how to do anything. And with the manual.
It also helps to watch the show too, because, like, for example, there's the dumb waiter that takes the things upstairs and stuff. If you watch the show, you recognize that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, a lot of this game is fetch questing to get stuff, and then you have to also know where to put it. You have to move, like you can move stuff their game is made up of about 6-7 different rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And you can move stuff around to the different off-screen to other rooms.
Oh, yeah.
You have to.
You have
in
to.
some cases, as I found out from watching the playthrough after my perpetual failing. It's a lot of it's just based on your ability to, I guess, just be very, very clever in terms of what you need to make these.
It's a puzzle game, sort of. It's not really a puzzle game, though.
Could you have gotten anywhere without cheating on looking at someone else play this?
It's hard to know. It's hard for me to go, like, I thought about that, and I was like, would I have been able to figure this out without watching somebody do it first? And you know, I almost, you know, I wish that I hadn't, because it's hard to go back. Once it's like an adventure game. Once you know the solution of the puzzles, they're all easy. The problem that I have with this game is that you know, Burke moves at such a Popeye-ish pace.
Oh, yeah.
That you really feel like in order to make the most of your time, you need to have a clear route, and you need to have an idea of what you're doing. Another thing about this game is that Burke has to grasp moving objects, and Burke is not the most deft of hands. Sometimes it's hard for him to grab a hold of things, and you end up having to, you know, maneuver yourself around quite a bit to get what you need.
Plus, with the depth of the screens,
yeah.
There's depth, it can make it hard to tell exactly which level of depth you're on.
The depth is cool, and it adds a third dimension, obviously. But it does make pathfinding difficult at times, for sure.
Yeah. So, we should mention that a lot of the stuff in the shows here, the trapdoor, obviously, the talking skull, which I believe is named Boney, is there. I did find out early on, accidentally, when I didn't realize you could pick that guy up.
You can pick him up, yeah.
And he'll help you, to, you know, more or less. When you open the trapdoor, crap comes out of the trapdoor. And, I mean, all kinds of crap. Worms, weird slimy things, like at one point, like some kind of weird chicken monster comes out, some other weird monsters that come out to do the various quests. It's funny when you mention it, when you watch this game being played by someone that knows what they're doing, it's actually sort of interesting to watch the method that you do this stuff. But having played this by myself, like I said, I tried to play this without any help at all at first. And I mean, I was utterly baffled. I mean, I was just like, man, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. You know, I thought I needed to make this stuff for this guy, but that was pretty much the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah.
And I had no idea you could move stuff on and off the screen either, even if you had to. I was like, I'll go into the trap door. You know, I didn't know what the game was.
Did you not watch the show before you started playing the game?
I watched the show after I started playing. I'd seen the show before, but I mean a long time ago.
Yeah, I think really more than watching the YouTube play, well, probably in equal parts, but watching how the show worked.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, this is one of the few. Think about how many licensed titles we play. In very few of those examples, watching the show helps you play the game. However, in this game, it really does. It helps you understand what's going on.
Yeah. So we probably should at least mention what exactly you're doing in this game. So you play Burke, like I said, this is a servant to this guy, and he has you making different things. Like I have a list of the things you actually have you made. The first thing he wants is a can of worms. That's the easiest thing to do. I actually did that but I had to like read something to figure out how to do it. And so what you basically in this game, there's things that are containers. There are things there's like various things that will cook stuff or let you mix stuff. And so a lot of the game is collecting stuff to put in the containers, moving the containers where they're supposed to be, and ultimately taking whatever you created and putting it on the dumbwaiter and sending it upstairs to the the freak upstairs. Can of worms wasn't too tough. You know, it was unbelievably tough until I had somebody hold my hand and take me through it. And I'm guessing, surely you didn't get past any of these without help, did you?
Oh, no. Like I said, once you know how to do it, it's easy. Like I said, I made the mistake because I wasn't sure what to expect at the beginning. And I was like, well, I'm going to check this thing out. And then I started watching it, and I couldn't stop because, like you said, it is fascinating to watch somebody that knows what they're doing play the game. I felt as if I got as much watching this guy. It was almost like watching an episode of the show, really. It's very well done. This is a very good game.
Well, first of all,
if you say it's not a good game, I'm going to fight you.
It looks great.
It does look great.
They did a great job capturing the spirit of the cartoon, or the claymation, I think. And plus the graphics, the Popeye guy, Don, he knows his stuff when it comes to graphics on the spectrum. He does a real good job. this almost reminds me of almost like, I mean, if it was not so difficult for me, this would almost remind me of something you would give to a child. Like it's not almost like a game, it's more like a play set. Like you do this now,
Yeah,
it's sort of a game
sure.
there.
I agree with that.
Because it's timed and whatnot. But I mean, it's very clever. The fact that you only have to go through a few rooms. Remember that game we played on the Amiga? It was during one of the Amigathons where it was during the Zombie Hour of Power, and it was another game where you had to go fetch stuff for a guy. It reminded. They must have ripped this off when they made it. That's what it reminded me of. But ultimately, it's not a game I would go back and play again, just because it's like I said, it was kind of fun to watch, but it's. And this is a game that's tough to comment on in 2019, but yeah, it is incredibly slow. It runs a lot like Popeye. You've got these huge sprites walking around, or wherever they were, these huge graphics, and they lumber along at a snail's pace. And you're right, when you're trying to catch stuff, it can be difficult. If you don't know what you're doing, you're screwed. I mean, I don't know how you could ever. And I know someone in the chat just mentioned they figured this out. Pixels, they figured out the can of worms by themselves without any help. Which, I mean, if you had enough time, you had no other game. Well,
that's the thing. I mean, again, we talk about this almost every week. If you're a kid and this is your game for the next 6 months, you're going to figure this out.
Yeah, and there is a lot to discover.
I like the fact that even though there are only a few rooms, they send you to, you're doing different things in each room, and you're living Burke's existence. I mean, Burke, his whole life is serving this thing upstairs. It's a thankless job. His whole life is lived in probably 4 or 5 rooms, and you see them all. You are Burke, and you are his story.
Well, it's a sad story for this guy. This is what he does all the time. This is tough for me. I'm not going to say it's crap. It's not. In a lot of ways, it's a lot like Popeye. Like, did I respect it? Yes.
This is a better game than Popeye.
I think it's a better game because it's a little more sensible than
Popeye. The game makes sense. The tasks that you have to do, they make logical sense. In Popeye, it was just random nonsense all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I also think that less is more in taste of the backgrounds and stuff. I mean, these backgrounds look good. And
it's a perfect setting for the Spectrum color palette. Like the neon green bricks really put you in the environment.
And the fact that they've taken the show and done something with it, I mean, it's a good licensed title. It's just this is not my style of game. In fact, and neither was Popeye. I don't have the patience for it. I mean, I know a crowd that would love these games, and you're probably your graphic adventure types. For me, it didn't do it for me. And it is. I will say you do have one thing right, which is it's a game where once you go through it, there's really not. I mean, once you figured out all the puzzles, and there's not that many. I'm looking here, and I think there's like 5 or 6 if you count the safe at the end. There's not that much going on, and so once you knock these out, pretty much you're done.
Yeah.
There's no real reason to go back just to show it off to you. But I mean, this is a game that you would show off to your friends. Dragon's Lair is what it reminds me of. It's a game where you really once you beat it, you're done. But it's the game you break out and be like, look at my computer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's many a dude that broke this out to show people what the Specky was capable of. But again, it's a little not. I guess having not grown up with the show either, I don't have a soft spot for it. So,
I mean, did you? I really just found this whole universe incredibly compelling. Like, I don't know. I like things that are a little bit spooky, but like also a little bit like kid friendly and not spooky. Like, and it's sort of like the Addams Family, like it's creepy and it's kooky, but it's also kind of funny. And it's the same sort of vein for me with this game. So
it's weird.
I think I like this a lot more than you did.
I think you probably did. I looked up a few reviews on this thing, Boadster. Critically, it was pretty well received. Computer Gamer gave this a 95. Yours Sinclair gave it a 90. Crash gave it an 88. So those are pretty good scores, all around. I did look this bad boy up on the eBay. Believe it or not, I know you're gonna be stunned. You can get it cheap for $4 to $20 all overseas in the UK. As we never have that over here. This didn't get ported to anything that we would have seen, except for the C64. I doubt we'd ever get a copy over here of it. So this is something that's, including the show. Like, I've never heard any Americans that have ever talked about this show.
No, it didn't make it over.
I wonder if this got played in Canada.
I don't know. Good question.
Is Jason in here? We'll have to ask him if it got played up in Hoser Land. But this is a show which apparently, just from what I read, and I read some forums, so apparently this is, this like an beloved show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that what you got out of it? I mean, I've heard that.
People have very fond memories of this for sure.
So, I'm guessing that, if they did a game like this based on a show that I grew up really loving, I'd probably be really in love with it, as opposed to I understand its appeal. It's not one that really did it for me.
Right. We did get some Discord community reviews on this, Aaron. Graham Vebke says, at first the game is interesting and you need to figure out how to solve the puzzles and ask Boney for clues. But there is not a lot of variation here. And once you know how to solve a puzzle, you always know how to solve that puzzle. Animation is nice, if a little slow. Graphics are great. It controls fine and the sound is decent too. Shame about its long-term replay value. 7 out of 10. I wanted to ask you about this because they were talking about it in chat too.
Yep.
Did you find that Burke moved faster than Popeye?
Comparable.
I feel like we sort of expect Burke to be a more ponderous fellow, so we're more forgiving of his lumbering ways. Versus Popeye, you expect Popeye to be strutting around like a stud. You don't want him to be being slow.
Well, Burke is certainly more durable than Popeye.
Yeah.
I forgot to ask, did you try this in Super Burke mode?
No, but I did read that you have to be in Super Burke mode to beat the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. I was always in the training
Yeah,
mode.
me too. Let's see here. Chris Folds says, what Graham said. I like it, a bit slow for my taste, but once you know the puzzles, it doesn't offer any reason to come back. 7 out of 10. And Pixels at Dawn wraps things up saying, this takes the big sprite visual and does it right. The animations are delightful and the main characters look right. While Burke is a slow mover, this is appropriate for the lore, and it just makes the game feel chilled as you plod around the castle satisfying your master's whims. I wish there was more sound or music, but those are the breaks with the Spectrum. The puzzles aren't too bad, but I'm not sure how far I would get without consulting a guide.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, fun. 7 out of 10. These guys are a little bit low. I would rate this an 8. I would give this a solid 8 out of 10.
Graphically, it's near the top of the food chain from what we've seen, but the fun factor for me,
I don't know.
like
I think it's because
there.
I like the property so much. This was a real surprise for me. I didn't know what to expect. Trapdoor, but it was great.
I like a little more twitchy action, more arcadey style stuff. This is just a little bit too wacky for me.
I understand. Aaron, before we go, I do want to thank all the fine folks that are here with us on Twitch. We record the show live on twitch.tv/Amigos Retro Gaming every Friday night. You can join the party with Curtis B, Picard 2010, Pixels at Dawn, Treyguard82, Ed Van Helen, live from the Norwegian man cave. Z9K9 is here. And thank you guys so much. Dunk was around. And so thank you guys so much for joining us. It's always a good time having people in the chat with us. Aaron, next, I want to thank our supporters, our awesome Patreon supporters, Andrew Waite, Jeff Owen, David Spencer, Cap'n Crispy, Laurent Giroux, Gary Heather, Eric Nelson, Harbonot, Graham Vebke, Frodo NL, Tapes from the Crypt, Pixels at Dawn, Chris Folds, Paul Harrington, and Christopher Hassel. And I want to give a special shout out to Frodo NL, our newest member of Clive's Club.
Yes, welcome aboard, sir.
Yeah. Next week, Aaron, we're going into the sports realm.
All right.
Yeah. We're going to be playing Wheelie.
Wheelie. Now that sounds interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So thanks as always, guys, for watching and or listening. And until next time, rewind tape.
And press play. 3D.
Right. Yeah. So next week.
Wheelie. I like the sound of that.
Next week, we'll be back in front of the brick wall.
What, we're done with this already?
Well, the chat doesn't like it. And so... Thank
you, Edwin.
And so I wanna please the chat. If you're tuning into us live, then you are the front lines of the people that we wanna help out. And so,
you love it though, don't you?
I like it.
You love it.
I like being in my controlling the area zone. You know, I like being able within reach. If something goes wrong, I can reach everything. Boom, right there. And so, I'll keep investigating a way to solve the problem. And I realize it does look a little bit messy with all my wires over here and everything.
What?
So, I know.
By the way, Curtis is also up north. I forgot about that. He's a hoser too. He's up in Europe and Canada, aren't you, Curtis?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Curtis is in Saskatoon.
Oh wow, Saskatoon.
Yeah,
I
man.
always like the name of that and the sound of that. Yeah, just put the piece under the desk, Bo. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Bo, if you saw the, you remember all that crap they unplugged from Neo? That's basically what Bo's got going over here. It's like it's all just whacked out and crazy.
Yeah, plus I like looking at my PC. I'm one of those guys. I like my stickers on here. My other computer's a ZX Spectrum from Chris Folds, the AmigaLove.com, Amiga OS, 30 years of emotion.
What a geek.
Plus I've got my illuminated. I'm not full on cool guy style with the RGB lights, although I am going to be upgrading the Monster PC on Black Friday.
Oh yeah?
I'm getting a Threadripper, Aaron.
I know what that is.
It's a Threadripper.
I don't know what that is.
It's the new ultra powerful. They're not new anymore, but the AMD's ultra powerful, like 32 core thing. We're going to be able to render video like it's going out of style.
Okay, sounds good. 'Cause I love rendering.
Yeah.
You're goofy. Say goodnight, Gracie.
All right. Good night, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Adios, muchachos.
See you next week. Actually, I'll be back tomorrow night. If you want to join me, I'm going to be playing this week's games and doing some hardware stuff. Perhaps taking another look at... Actually, I'll tell you what I'll be doing next week. I'm going to be taking a look... Or not next week, tomorrow. I'm going to be looking at the our new Div MMC Future. This guy right here. On the Spectrum.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, so I'll be doing a extended Spectrum stream plus Heimdall and the other thing, the Wheelie. Plus I'll be playing the Coco games. I'm going to stream for like 6.5 hours
Do you
tomorrow.
remember?
For the Coco, we are doing, I will tell you momentarily here, Coco show. Thexter and Time Bandit.
Great.
Dexter
Those are
and
both
Time
pretty.
Bandit.
I'm pretty intimate with both those, so
Yeah.
that'll be cool. Oh, thank you, Graham. Hey, see there, Graham watched the Delta Green.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Lobsterminator left us a real nice comment on it. So
Very good.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. All right, guys. We'll see you next.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Mwah.